Then let's look at yesterday. See whether that has any impact. We're looking at yesterday, you'll see again enormous numbers of instances of yesterday, but half of all the instances of yesterday occur in the first sentence. And if we look at positioning, it's even Stevens between first and half of the sentence if it's text initial, and it's more likely to be in the first half if it's in the paragraph initial or non-initial sentences. In terms of ratio then, it's a 1-to-1 here as opposed to 2-to-1 and 3-to-2. Well, now we can see what's wrong really. If we just take that first sentence and compare it with the real, original first sentence. The sentence in the constructed version was that yesterday it was announced that racial motivated crimes have increased by more than a quarter of a county, which is the worst street riots in modern decay. But in the original version, it was racially motivated crimes have increased by more than a quarter in a county which witnessed the worst street riots in modern decay. It was announced yesterday. And we've seen that this just doesn't occur. And yet this is massively bound to occur in text initial position. So we've got a whole new problem. Not only must the right word be used in the right grammatical structure, it's got to be used, in fact, to sound natural in the right textual position. Okay? This is the original text. You've got it on the handout, those who've got a handout. And all the things in red are primed to occur in text initial sentences. All the things in green are primed to occur in paragraph initial sentences. All the stuff in purple is primed to occur in non-initial sentences. So the text, without knowing it, reflects the experience that the writer had of these words and phrases in many other texts before, and they replicated them in such a way that they're actually placed in the appropriate places in terms of the text organisation. How do we know all this? Well, at this moment I get my voice arrested.
Thanks, Michael. I'll keep my jacket on and probably be a little bit less strictly come dancing, but this is sort of the how do we do it? We've seen some really interesting examples. Obviously, once upon a time, from our intuition and experience, we see that, and then in that one newspaper text. But how widespread is this? So how we're doing this, we've got an HRC funded project to explore the extent of this textual colligation phenomenon Michael's been describing. And along with Michael and myself, Mike Scott and Michaela Malberg from the University of Liverpool working on this. And as Michael mentioned, we've got the whole Guardian archive from 1998 to 2004. And in our initial investigations, we've taken out just the home news section, because that seems to contain the closest thing to what has been described in the literature as hard news. So what we do, and if you did manage to get one of the handouts, you'll see on the front with text A down the side, there are some acronyms: TISC, PISC, and NISC. This is one of the most fun bits of our project, is that we've come up with some nice little acronyms. But what we do with the whole corpus, all of these 52 million words, 113,000 articles, is that we go through and we classify each sentence within each article according to where it occurs within the text. So the first sentence of the first paragraph we put into a category called TISC, which stands for Text Initial Sentence Corpus. The first sentence of every subsequent paragraph, which is a non-initial paragraph, paragraphs that have at least 2 sentences in them, we classify as a paragraph initial sentence, and that goes into PISC. And then everything else which is in those paragraphs goes into NISC. Okay, so you see the TPN that we've been using in that grid, that's what those stand for. So those are our categories. Quickly how it works with text A, we take that first sentence and that will go into TISC. Then we've got a 2-sentence paragraph. So the first one will be classified as PISC, paragraph initial, and the second one will be non-initial sentence. Then the next paragraph has 3 sentences in it, so the first goes into PISC, and then the last 2 into NISC. Okay, so that's how those categories work, and we process the whole corpus in this way. And then once we've done that, we're able to make use of the keyword procedure, which has been implemented in various text analysis, corpus linguistic tools, such as Wordsmith and others. And what this allows you to do take a large reference corpus and a text or a set of texts, and to look at the vocabulary and to pick out words or phrases which are used with a much more frequently in your text or set of texts than would be expected on the basis of your reference corpus. So it's a statistical procedure that does that. And what we've done is we've reapplied that method to our subcorpora, so the TISC, HISC, and NISC sections. So we can take the word list that's made up of all of the TISC sentences, the first sentences of text, and compare that against the word list that comes from all of the non-initial sentences. And then the keyword procedure will show words that are being used much more frequently in text initial sentences than would be expected on the basis of how they're used in the non-initial sentences or in the paragraph initial sentences. Some examples of the kind of items that come up from that analysis. First is yesterday, which we found is used in about 1 in every 3 first sentences. Not surprising, I guess, in a news article. Whereas in non-initial sentences, it's used in about 1 in every 80 sentences. Similarly, last night is a text initial phrase. And then some verbs, we see announced, suffered, stressed, nouns, plans, report, some function words, over, under, after, against, and then fresh and branded. Those are just a sample of a few of them, but we can do using this procedure, we can get a comprehensive list that can then be investigated in more detail. So if we go back to looking at text B, which if you've got a handout is on the second side, this is how it originally appeared in The Guardian. And here we just highlight in the first sentence, so in our TISC sentence, some of the words, the individual items that come out as key using that procedure. So those ones are highlighted there in red. And then the figures behind that, here we've got normalized frequency, occurrence per million words for each of those. You can see that racially, it's 3 times as frequent in text initial sentences as in either paragraph initial or non-initial sentences. Crimes, 103.5 occurrences per million words, and so on. Right down to yesterday, where you can see that it's, it's massively more frequent than it is in either of the other 2 sections. So we'll just catch it back up to where we were. So just a bit of review for you there. And so you can see that's the statistics behind and the frequencies behind this analysis and how we pick out these words. To answer the question of how we do it. So let's take another look at yesterday. Not only is it just much more frequent in text initial sentences, occurring in 1 in every 3 of them, but also it has some rather interesting behavior. As we saw when we looked at text A, our vaulted text, and we had yesterday as the very first word of the article. Like you'll see in these bottom 2 sentences here. Okay, yesterday the paper shelved its plan to give. Yesterday the Prime Minister was taunted by Ian Malcolm Smith. You can see that that's the way those are coded. That's paragraph 2, sentence 2, paragraph 8, sentence 2. So those are both non-initial paragraphs for those that are occurring in, and they occur in the first word of the sentence in D position. The top 2 examples are actually text initial sentences, and you see George Bush yesterday suffered a blow to his argument. Bulgaria and Romania yesterday received the green light. We don't know why, but why you could say yesterday George Bush suffered a blow to his argument. Yesterday Bulgaria and Romania received the green light to join the EU. There's no reason grammatically that you couldn't say that. But yeah, writers of The Guardian during the period that we're looking at in the home news articles do not use